Surviving in the restaurant and bar business is tough enough on its own. How about almost a year after a pandemic? Tonight, we revisit Tommy Gallo and Gallo's Kitchen on Whiskey Business. And good Tuesday evening to everybody who is tuning in on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. I'll introduce our guest bottle here in just a moment. Our guest tonight is a revisit of a guest. He was on the show with us. He was our last in-person, face-to-face guest before the initial shutdown. Before the initial shutdown, I don't know what that was in the background. Before the initial shutdown, came down upon us, and the start of the COVID pandemic occurred. After that, we started to go remotely, if you will. And Tommy Gallo was our last face-to-face live guest before we started to go remotely from Gallo's Kitchen. And we were talking about the upcoming shutdown and how that was going to affect things, change things, et cetera, et cetera. And Tommy was very forthcoming, very emotional on a lot of different levels, very passionate. That particular podcast, Don't Call Me Chef, which is in the archives, still stands as our most watched, most viewed podcast in whiskey business history.
Damn.
Yeah. So tonight, a year later, has he gained perspective? Has he gained information? Where does he stand emotionally, personally, physically? What kind of toll has this year taken on not only the restaurant and bar industry, but on him personally and the people that he cares so very much about at Gallo's Kitchen, his staff, and his customers? We'll be talking with Tommy in just a little bit on Whiskey Business. Before I introduce our guest bottle, let's first get to Hansberry and Whitney, the comedy team of Hansberry.
Hey!
Yeah.
We're going to debut our improv set tonight.
That's right.
My audio and video gurus, the two gentlemen who make this all possible this evening. So thank you, boys. How are you? Good?
We're good. Yeah, good.
Here we are. Another week of remote podcasting.
I just had a physical today.
Oh, great.
Oh, bravo. Well done. And
my doctor said that my liver was great. And I really said to him, really, that's surprising. And he laughed. It's true.
Are you taking the milk thistle as I advised?
No, I'm just just lots of water.
Just a healthy man.
Just trying to eat right and this is my only vice is a little bit of bourbon.
I think you should try harder. I think
I should try harder.
Get some milk thistle. Get the nice supplement called milk thistle. Any pharmacy, vitamin store. It cleanses the liver.
It helps with fatty liver or what? What is it?
Yes,
it
does. I was diagnosed with the fatty liver back in the late 90s, and someone suggested milk thistle. And I haven't had one since. So
I will try that milk thistle. I will try that.
There you go. What if you're lactose intolerant? Can you still have the milk thistle?
Yeah, is it actually dairy?
I don't think it has anything to do with that. So
okay.
Maybe it's a plant. It's a plant. Are there milk thistles?
Don't go by me. I'm not a doctor.
Play one on TV.
That's right.
Hansberry, you want to do the business before I get to the guest bottle?
Let's knock it out. Thanks for checking out Whiskey Business. If you are listening on your favorite podcasting app, thank you. Go ahead and smash us with a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you could rate and review us, 5-star rating would be extra nice. Thank you much. If you are listening on your favorite podcasting app, don't forget that we are available on Facebook and YouTube, Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis, where you could be watching us live right now, like many of you fine folks are doing. So thank you very much. Just make sure you hit like and subscribe and click that little bell notification if you're on YouTube, and you'll get notifications every time we go live with a video. Instagram, Twitter, and Marvel Universe on Disney Plus. That's where we're at next.
Right. Yeah, That's right. The Marvel Universe.
Oh, and don't forget whiskeybusinesspod.com. All of our archives were included. Like you said, our previous episode with Tommy is a banger.
Yeah,
there.
Don't Call Me Chef. The most viewed and downloaded episode that we have in the Whiskey Business archives. And of course, people are commenting and tuning in live. Holly Hollingsworth says the superintendent, that would be James Canepa, would like to know what you all are drinking this evening. We'll start with Hansberry. What are you drinking tonight, Hansberry?
I'm roughing it. Bottom shelf, Benchmark 8.
Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with the bottom shelf, especially Benchmark.
Four Roses. What is it? Small batch.
Small batch.
Yep.
And since the rule is we always have to include a new whiskey on Whiskey Business, I have finally cracked open the Christmas gift bottle from my mother-in-law, the Bell Mead bourbon. This one in the sherry cask finish. Very nice.
It looks. How's it taste? Is it sweet?
It is sweet. It's got a wonderful floral note, a lot of dried fruits and floral notes in the nose. Those dried fruits definitely reveal themselves on the palate. And then that spicy rye, high content, it's about 30% rye, gives you a nice little kick at the end. They brag about the finish. I was hoping the finish would last a tad bit longer, but it's got a nice, sweet, lingering finish. Just I wish it would have lasted a bit longer. I would strongly suggest this one.
Sounds like my wife.
Yeah.
I would strongly suggest this one. If you're going to skip dessert at dinner, then maybe and just go with a nice little whiskey. This would be an excellent one to enjoy after dinner, just because of all the fruitiness and the floral notes and whatnot. Very nice. A little bit of caramel. So a little expensive if you're looking to buy it off the shelf. I've seen it range between $79 and $89 a bottle. So
is that available in Ohio?
Let's ask the superintendent.
Can you chime in?
I'm sure there are Bell Mead products available. So that one might be a little harder to get. I don't know. So, but that is our guest bottle tonight. Bottle, I believe, 156.
Woohoo! We're getting up there.
We're getting up there. Yep. Think we'll make it to our 200th?
It depends.
Let's do it tonight. Let's go.
Let's go.
We can do it.
Yeah, I'll just start rifling through the inventory before it's all said and done. All right, let's get to it, shall we?
Yes.
Like I said, almost a year ago, Tommy Gallo was our last guest before we started going remotely, and the shutdown happened, and we had to adjust. Over the course of that year, a lot of restaurants and bars didn't make it. Gallo's Kitchen and Bar did. So let's bring in Tommy Gallo and say good Tuesday evening to him once again.
Here. Har.
He was supposed to join us last Tuesday, but we forgot that last Tuesday was Fat Tuesday and a big night at Gallo's Kitchen. I've been there on Fat Tuesday. It's always incredible, remarkable what you do on Fat Tuesday. It's if you've never been to Gallo's Kitchen, first of all, go. It's one of the best restaurants in town. If you're going to pick one night to go, then try to get your ass in there on a Fat Tuesday because it's crazy good. How are you, buddy?
You know, I was listening to you guys in the opening, and I think we were March 12th, somewhere in there. It was almost 6 days to our interview that we got the phone call that there was going to be a presser the following Sunday, and that's when it all happened. So we're here. It's been something. And I'm not having a physical. The last time I had a physical, I was told it was a ticking time bomb. So we just don't go back.
Anybody that knows you personally knows that you're a ticking time bomb, literally.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
In a lot of different ways. You have a lot of a lot of passion will be my polite word for what you do.
That's a nice way to put it.
How you do it. Yeah, I have the luxury of being able to bust your balls a little bit, but I'm very sincere when I do say passion. You do have a lot of passion for what you do and how you do it. And I would imagine that passion over the last year had to be one of those emotional characteristics that carried you through all this. Your passion for wanting to not fail, succeed. I remember in that last podcast, one of the big things you spoke of was not just you, but you worried about your family. When I say your family, the people that you work with and employ.
You called them kids, remember?
Yeah,
that's right. I was just gonna say my kids. Yeah, that was goal number one. Was to make sure that the toughest problem was trying to figure out. I mean, I've been in the industry for 32 years, 16 on my own, and to have to up and on the fly figure out, because the first 3 months there was no inside, and carry out was. There's really not a way to explain it without having witnessed it. It was, I don't even think overwhelming is a good enough word, but we had to fix how we did things. I mean, first Monday night we opened, we didn't even have, we had enough to go over the course that we've been open, but the containers we were using, kind of environmental, biodegradable, all that stuff, well, you can't see through them, which, when you're doing a couple entrees on a turn, that's not a problem. When you're doing waves of 50 and you can't see what's in each container. I mean, so it took about 5 days to where we figured out exactly what the MO was going to be and how we were going to do it. But yeah, going back to your initial comment, it really was, I'm not letting anyone off. And in fact, I'm going to double down and say that my kids are going to make at least what they would normally make. And that was always been the goal. I mean, that was the scariest thing. When we got so much positive review from our last interview, and to go from that high, not knowing, to about 6 days later pulling into Bethel. When we opened Bethel, it became real when I pulled off of Bethel Road and approached the building that had sign. And in that moment, the crushing weight and the brevity of the reality of the situation. And I know I'm walking into my staff, and Nick called a meeting, and I'm trying not to cry and trying not to break down, but it was really hard. Just the unbelievable amount of uncertainty was the largest concern. What are the rules going to be? How are we going to do this? What are we allowed to do? And each day went along, and we figured out another way to make something else work or make something else happen. And but they were the first goal. I mean, I don't have a wife or kids, so the first three that matter are my twin nephews, Bo and Gio, and my niece Christiana, and then of course my brother and my cousin and their families. But the kids that are here were, in a rightful way, as scared as I was. I mean, no one knew how this was going to go, and especially in the early, when it first happened. The grocery stores are barren, and the supply lines tightened up hard. So then it was, can we do what we want to do? If we are busy, can we still get orders? Can we, can we get what we need to do what I want to do? And that was took a little getting used to, but
there was definitely a trickle down involved, because I have friends that are in the produce business. Jamie Sanfilippo's tuned in and listening tonight as we speak. I mean, it's interesting how the dominoes fell and affected everybody in some way, shape, or form in the beginning. What do you think it was? Why would a Gallo's Kitchen and Bar survive? Why did you survive and some others didn't? Just after a year of this in perspective, what do you think gave you the glue to hang in there? And not just say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm gonna lock it up.
Yeah, there were a couple that, first and foremost, restaurants with older clientele were already in trouble, because that was when they kept saying, older people, that's underlying issues as far as getting COVID. So a couple of them kind of went out for that. I have a lot of people that called and asked me that very same question. What are you doing? So the first answer is I'm no goddamn genius. This community basically rallied and said, we aren't losing you. Arlington came strong for me. Strong. The gratuity was over the top. We received several checks just to help pay these kids. It's really all I can. I mean, in the 10 years I've been here, I've worked very, very hard. And Hansberry will tell you, man, everybody kind of knows everybody here, and it has a family feel. And that's really the bulk of my success here. And really, I think Bethel and Powell was, that's how we run our places. I mean, that's Nick and I when we set out, and Larry coming in to the financial side, but even still coming from OP Gallo, that's how we always did our families and done things. So I don't really think I did anything. I couldn't really give anybody a piece of advice that was not wagon. What I will say is, my friend Don Lee, Horizons Media, had me film a video about how we're going to get through this. And
Don.
What I said at the end of that, that promo closed was, there's all this chaos here, there's all this, but if people have to, because remember in the beginning, you almost couldn't even go out and get food at the grocery store, so you had to go somewhere. And if you're going to go out and you're going to spend the money, you're going to make sure you get a good meal. And if nothing else about this place, with all the things I could say about it or accolades I could praise, the food here is what it is, and it is consistently at a very high level, still maintaining the freshness. The food that we sent out, the only thing that was different was it was in a black container with a clear lid. It was as good as prepared as what you would get here. The one thing I did hear from some people was that the way other people might have been doing it wasn't like us. I don't know what that means, because I don't know who anybody specifically, but I guess I would just attribute it to the fact that people wanted good food. I mean, you're trapped in your house. There's nowhere to go. There are no cars on the street, but man, it's an escape. It's an escape. That's what I love about my food. I always say that the heart of this restaurant is, you're either coming here because you've had the worst day and want to make it better, the best day and you want to celebrate, or you just really want to kick ass with it. And that's what drove us. I mean, the food drove us, and the kids drove us. And that's been the hardest part about this, knowing the people that have closed. I mean, the owner of Windward passed away. Willie Lolly from La Scala passed away. Antonio from Tony's passed away. And this is all during all. I mean, it was the magnitude. It was just like, what's next, man? But we never, ever, ever lost focus of the food. I think we might have had, in the course of the last coming up on a year, maybe 2 misses or 2 wrong orders. We didn't make mistakes, because they're coming out. They've got to drive here. They've got to we will not make mistakes. And there were nights we were running an hour and a half, 2 hours, people to wait. I didn't care. I don't give a shit how long we wait. We'll back it up if it needs to be 3 hours. We'll get the order right. So when they get home, it's there. Because what happens in, I think, a situation like this, if you to get home when your order's wrong, it looks like whatever, God damn it, just another thing goes wrong today. Like, that's the so I wanted to make sure that it picked up food, it got home, it was right, it was hot, it was good, and it was accurate, just because for that moment, I could take them out of this mess.
There was a couple times that I got some shitty takeout food, and it ruined it for that place,
I've heard that, and I won't cite anybody, but yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. What do you think you did wrong over the last year? But it sounds like you really did everything right, or at least as right as you thought so in your mind. I guarantee you there was somebody that bitched about waiting. I ordered it 3 hours ago and probably bitched until they actually got home and ate it and went, okay, well, now I feel bad because it's so good. But I guarantee you
They knew. I mean, we told them when they would call for an order. Look, it's 2 hours. 2 hours. Well, that's what I got. You want it or you don't. It's up to you. That's kind of where we were at.
Do you work with Grubhub or these other companies?
Yeah, we brought Grubhub in shortly after, and it was a little bit of an adjustment period because somebody placed a Grubhub order, and like the first night we used it, we were already at 9 minutes, and the driver shows up in like 2 minutes, and I'm like, So we had to figure out how to tell them, and now we figured out how to adjust that. But yeah, it's been nice. It's been good. It's been weird that people. I don't understand exactly how. We had a few phone calls and still do kind of. Why are the menu prices so different on Grubhub? Well, they take 30%, so we raise the prices to compensate.
Yeah,
that's not fair. Then come in and pick it up. And so you go through that kind of situation. But no, in the end, they've been very good. You got to learn how to use it. It's a weird system, and this thing goes off, and then you got to plug it. But it was very advantageous, and we'll probably maintain that now throughout with the company. All 3 locations have it.
Yeah.
You talk about dedication. I'm looking at some of the comments from people. Chip Cosell, our friend, says, if you cook it, they will come. Heather says, we now drive an hour and change just to go to Gallo's. Well worth it. So, I mean, that's got to make you feel good, right?
Yeah.
People that drive.
Yeah, we had somebody drive 3.5 hours to come in for Fat Tuesday. That's I don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. It's great. But I also know that, unless you're up north in Akron, that I'm aware it's where Russo's restaurant or the Merch Tavern is. That's about those are the guys I learned with and learned from, and there's something about that food, and there's it's just when he said some places it ruined it kind of because you go and you get the food and then it didn't it wasn't what you wanted, and that's. I'm grateful to hear someone say that. I mean, that's there is no greater compliment, really. I mean, if you're going to drive that far for my food, sure as hell I didn't see this. This is a mess now. You can see how much I made. Christ, I mean, it's been a long run. It really has been.
Mm-hmm. The question, what worked, what didn't work. I mean, in the past year, what's been the most, for lack of a better word, aside from limited capacity and not being able to pack your restaurant? You mentioned earlier tonight, before we went on the podcast this evening, that as far as capacity that you're allowed, you're full tonight. You're actually at the restaurant in the back room.
I apologize for the background, by the way, but I was going to do it from the nice new addition that we put on. When we closed, we took over the little place next door that used to be a vape shop, and kind of turned it into a extra seating and wine room, and redid some things and decorated. So that was going to be the background, but we got a late phone call, and if COVID has done nothing else for me, it's I don't turn a damn thing down. So they ended up taking the room, so now I'm stuck here in the closet.
Is that a fax machine? What is that back there?
Shut up. I'm so embarrassed when I'm sitting here. I'm like, I could showcase my restaurant, and I'm literally sitting.
So wait a minute.
I will say, hey, he's on his iPad. You should go take a lap around the joint.
Yeah.
In the restaurant?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do it. I'll show you what we did. Hold on.
Here we go.
I have iPad. We'll
this is going to be something. We're going to be live in the restaurant.
Are you able to switch the camera to front to you and that kind of thing? Can you do that?
Drinks on the house.
Dude, do you know who you're talking to? I'll just put it.
Okay, forget I said it. Forget I said a thing. Forget I said it.
Changed. We put up this mural on the back, and then we extended the bar area, which is over here, and brought all this stuff out so we could actually have more standing room. Redecorated a little bit with the lights, and obviously you can see the Strandlers, and then the room that we opened. Yeah, Paul. Where'd you see this? This is my brother and cousin's doing, not mine. So we took over the.
That was the vape shop.
Yeah, this was the vape shop. You can see the wall.
Cool.
That would have been our background had I planned this out a little further.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I mean, even right now, it's we're heading up on 9 o'clock. There's enough people in here, and it's okay. It's not 100% full, but it's good enough for for Tuesday in Arlington.
It's not allowed to be. It's not allowed to be 100% full. Otherwise,
no. The thing that's killing us the most, honestly, is the you can't stand and drink. So in other words, if you come in and you want to, hey, how long is for a table? 20 minutes. They can't get a cocktail.
Yeah.
So that's what's hurt us a lot, because that standing, no one wants to stand there and wait. Now they did extend the carry out beverage, which I find to be interesting. Doesn't really help in Arlington because everyone drives with a traveler anyway. So it's okay. Then we partnered up with Chris DeLavi, who I know you've had on your show, and really have now kind of learned how to batch cocktails so they can make them faster. And she's consulted with us. She's with the Diageo Beverage Company now, and that's really helped. So Stephanie, my front AGM, she little jars and things that they're real quick, real easy, and you can carry it out. So that's helped a little bit. We also had outdoor seating, so we're excited to pop back off. But it wasn't an ideal time for a remodel, but the nice part
I was going to say, in the middle of the pandemic, when people are crunching numbers and trying to survive, you decide to expand and make it bigger. Yeah. That's not logical thinking.
No, a little nervous about that. I'm not gonna lie.
That's not practicality. That's
I like the
logical
comment.
Thinking.
All those listening tonight get free cocktails.
Chris,
come on down, Adam. Hell, let's put it down.
Let's do it.
He's got to put his glasses on.
So what was that? What was your mindset when the space became available in the middle of the pandemic, when the numbers are hurting and the revenues are hurting? What's making you think like, this is a good time to expand?
I will be very forthcoming. I did not want to do it at all. I did not like the idea. I didn't agree with it. And my other cousins have a little more forward thinking and vision than I do. And Nick and Larry saw the room for what it was and how it could be used and pushed forth. Larry said we were okay. We had the finances to pull it off. I just got out of the way. I was so focused just on service that it was kind of like, whatever, I don't care. And so we rolled off the side. They basically did the remodel, and then we punched through the wall. But no, that was really my brother Nick and my cousin Larry's doing. I will be very, very forthcoming. I did not want that room. But in the end, it helped. It helped a lot, and it's a beautiful space, and that was their vision, not mine at all. Not mine at all. But
all right, so credit where credit is due.
Hell yes, that was their call.
Wait a minute. This is a moment. You're telling me you don't know everything? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
this is a moment. You don't know everything.
For the record, I hope I've never said that I do. I know a lot about the game, but they were the ones that pushed that forward, so I need to credit them for that. I did not. It was not. I didn't need it or in the cards, and they pushed forward. And now, we look back, it's been very nice to have, and it's been received. The remodeling was received very well, and it's just in that moment, all I could think about was orders got to the point where they were 3 days a week. We don't have a ton of cooler space because we make everything fresh every day. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even get fresh fish. So I was really outsourcing things because I don't take shortcuts. I just don't. We're going to serve what we serve, and we're going to do it right. Yeah, you said it there. Thank you. And so this is one of the cocktails that Mrs. DeLavi helped the staff with. This is called Bourbon and Bubbles, and it's delicious.
Oh, nice.
That's very nice.
But yeah, I was so hyper focused on each day getting a phone call. Okay, we're not delivering on Monday anymore. Now we're not. Shit. So I had to keep. I have like a war board that I would. Okay, here's when I can get. Now how much room? So when they decided to do it, I just whatever, go do it. I got way too many problems right now, and so that's kind of how it worked. It's called Bourbon and Bubbles. I told you, it's delicious.
Nice.
It's some sort of bourbon drink with champagne with prosecco in it. It's fantastic.
If Chris DeLavi made it, don't even bother
right.
That's
exactly right.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome. So I want to talk about you for a second. Just you. Giving me the state of the business. I'm going to ask you in a little bit later what your plans are moving forward once we get completely out of this. But having known you for quite a few years and having enjoyed everything before the pandemic, when I say when I use the term somewhat of a madman, I say that because of your passion for what you do and how you do it. So tell me what Tommy Gallo was like pre-COVID, as far as the madman, and post-COVID, a madman with perspective, and how has this changed you personally in the past year?
Well, what happened initially for a kid like me, with the battles of mental depression and suicide or thoughts of it, and the way my brain works, was those initial first nights with nowhere to go was very, very challenging for me, because I need to be around stuff. I need to hear noise. And I probably sat here too late and drank too much because I didn't know what else to do. I mean, I live alone and I didn't want to go there. And so the restaurant kind of became my roommate. As we went through. So to give you an example, Fat Tuesday, because we opened Sunday, Monday, I had to work about 36 hours in 2 days. So I would come in, work my shift, and then from 9 to about 7 or 8 in the morning, 2 days in a row, I made the menu. And then the final day, I actually slept here because I wouldn't wake up. Now, the physical toll that took on me, and if you think about the hours I just said, and I mean, I'm here by myself, so I'm doing all the pots, all the pans, cooking everything. Staff had everything prepped for me. The physical toll of that was nothing compared to the mental of this. The pressure, the stress, getting phone calls about closed and not being able to help because I don't know. There's nothing I could tell them. I don't know what that's, God, it never stopped. It just never stopped. I mean, it's just, what else? What else? So the mental side of it, man, it was rough. The perspective I gained from it is that the manner in which I approached this restaurant and that we approach our restaurants, it's harder to do it my way, but it's why after about 2 months, I started to go, whether we make money or not, I didn't know, but I knew we would at least break even, because that's why you put in the work. For all the shit that we do and how we do it, this was the payoff moment. This was the proof that I can't even begin to tell you the things people said to me about why I come here, or we come here because support and the adulation, everything that people put upon me. But that's what we do. Generally, the guy who succeeds the most on the basketball team or football team is the one that starts working out 3 weeks after the championship game. The other guy comes in fat and happy from being off all season or whatever. So it's kind of that thing. It's a harder way to do it, but when you would love yourself the way I do and touch tables the way I do, and then my staff buys into that, and that was really the perspective I gained, was never lose sight of the lesson. And there were so many lessons to teach these guys. And the one that I kept driving home is, man, I know you guys are tired. I know this stuff, whatever. We're better than most. We're doing okay. And to acknowledge and to not come in and be like, oh, so-and-so, but there's restaurants closing that aren't going to reopen. They're hurting. And everyone, when you go to the front, well, you kept this thing. Oh, God damn it. All I did was me. They did. They listened. They executed. I worked the floor. I touched the cars. I went out, but they had to cook. The servers had to spread it out and get it to the right car. So it was finding chaos. Well, it was finding a flower in a field of chaos, and to let them know the most precious gem in the world can be laying in a river of sharks, and it's hell to go through. I see. And that's what I hope that they garnered that. I hope that that's what they take away from this. And I know I sure have. I'm not relaxed yet because I don't know what's next. I don't know when. They talk about restrictions, and the hours thing is great that we can stay out late, but we still have the mask issue. We still have the you can't stand and move around restriction. And then a good problem to have coming up now, Dino, is if they greenlight me, there are I would say a greater number of people. I don't know if I can explain this way. My brain processes it, but there will be as many people excited to come out that will then cause other people not to, that aren't comfortable yet. Now, if I start seating outside, I greenlight my dining room, still with carryout, something has to give there. And that's my next problem now. Great problem to have. Not bitching, not complaining. But I can't, with now going patio, increasing the dining room, it's still carryout. It's going to be one hell of a lot of food and one hell of a lot of chaos. Good problem to have, but that's my next battle. So when you ask about what I learned, the one thing about this COVID thing is, as bad as my brain works, I really never had a lot of time to think about me because there was always new. What's next? What's the next problem? Oh, what are they going to do? And so I kept going through these things, and it was like, Jesus Christ, you never have time to think about yourself, but I never do, and that's the problem.
Is that a problem that unconsciously saved you? If you would have spent time thinking about yourself, being self-admitted in the fact that you suffer from depression and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
Do you find it ironic? Do you find it ironic that the problems that the pandemic presented actually were almost a saving grace for you in a big picture?
They gave me something to focus on. That's a great way to put it. Yes. I drank too much. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, when it first started, I was sitting there.
Okay.
Welcome to the club.
All right.
We're all guilty. We're all guilty.
You're not alone there.
I like to drink for fun, not to medicate. And I know that I was, that's been something I've been trying to curtail a little bit. It's to a point it was, and there's a strange a movie that The Search for Bobby Fischer, and it's about a kid that plays chess, and there's a scene in the movie where they wipe the board clean. That's kind of how I see the restaurant. When I sit here by myself, I see the floor and I can envision things differently than when there's people in it. So a lot of the times at night, I would sit here, and that's why it was to kind of figure out, can we do this, or where can I squeeze another table? And so, I guess to your point, there was a lot of X factors to really, what do we do with the menu? Bethel and Powell, they scaled back a little bit initially. I never did. I just said, hell with it. I'm going full bore. There were certain things. The worst thing about to-go food is when you do what we do, like somebody called and bitched about the oysters. Well, they're fried. They put in the container to go. You drove home. Sorry, don't order fried oysters. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So some of that stuff I started pulling off because if there was one thing harder than anything, it was when someone would say or complain to or about my staff or my servers about the situation we're in. Well, your server yelled because you have to wear a mask. Bitch, you paid the $500 fine. Because they'll fine me. Why are you you think my server and I went down to Governor DeWine's office and said these are the rules we want? So I took a couple times I had to just leave. One night in particular, I was sitting at the bar on the corner, two people I knew. Finally took my mask off, and this lady berated my GM about being here and not wearing his mask. And I just looked at him and said, and I did. That was the hardest part, is some of the ignorant comments and the manner with which these people treated my staff. Because, boy, I'll tell you something, baby. You talk to my kids that way, especially my girls, it ain't going well. Shit gets real, and it gets real fast, and it gets real messy. And that was a shock to me. And when the riots started, that was the real big thing. When the riots downtown started, because up until that point, people were kind of cool. Like, they were really cool, actually. They were understanding and great job, but something clicked, man. People got pissed, they got different, and they got angry. You think you're angry? I'm dying in here. My kids are fighting for their, and it kind of spiraled. down fast. And that was very tough. And that was the stuff that when I would sit here at night, how do I curb this? What do I do? How do I make this different? And so really keeping them optimistic and figuring out what was next was, I guess, to your point, the wall that kept me from jumping off the cliff. You kind of summed it up. I hadn't thought of it until you said it that way. But yeah, I guess my obsession with figuring this situation out allowed me to not kind of get in my own head. Couldn't sleep, haven't for 8 months. But but 32 years. When I started working at Liberty, when Dave finally moved me to the line, the service drinks every night, ticket dream. I haven't had a service dream. I don't even know. I'm having them now. And they keep you up, and so you get up and you're like, I don't even know why I'm sleeping. It's pointless. I should just go out and go do something, because I dream a lot about the restaurant, and you go through those moments where it's like, I just got to get up. So that was a problem. But figuring things out, sitting here and talking to other people, I'll tell you one thing it did for me that I didn't anticipate. I met a lot of people through other people that said, hey, my friend over here did this with his restaurant or her restaurant. That's I've gotten to meet some people and interact and kind of, I don't know what that word I'm looking for, like you network and kind of go, tell me what you did. I'll tell you what I did. And I've gotten a lot of great ideas and met some really cool people along the way. So, there's a couple things that came of this. My brother and cousin opened up in Clintonville. I do not have anything to do with it financially, but it's a wonderful spot. Ballsy move. But when you asked earlier about the new room, they opened a restaurant during this shit. Like,
I know, right?
Ballsy, but it's working. They're doing a good job. So,
Yeah, Gallo Kitchen.
And that's what I was going to ask. Kind of tagging on that point. What have you learned that you're going to keep doing? Have you learned little tricks? Carry out stuff, the cocktails to go. What are you going to? In a year from now, when this is all behind us, you mentioned Uber Eats and stuff.
If I'm looking at a new spot now, I will take into consideration. I don't care what size I think I need in the cooler. I'm going to double the hell out of that sumbitch. Because you need to be ready for something like this. Take the extra 20 feet. And I'll also look at the way the line runs. In terms of, I don't think this goes away for a while. I really don't. I think that we're in a position where it will come back next winter. And how it comes back, I don't know. But I do know that people are concerned. And so the main thing I've learned is I'll be ready for it. I'll be ready for it. There's no other way to explain it. And to trust myself. I doubted myself a lot in the beginning. God damn it, this is what I do. I don't do anything like every relationship I'm in. I don't see my family enough, but I can run a restaurant like Gordon can drive a car. And I, for a while, didn't trust myself. I was nervous. I thought I was making the wrong decisions on. Just go. You know what to do. Put it in fifth, drop the hammer, and get the hell up and go win the race. And that's probably the number one thing that I learned. And to really get out of my staff's way. Boss, go do your thing out front. We got the back. And then the girls and Jamie up front, we've got the to-go thing. So now I'm sitting here going, what the hell am I supposed to do? Shake hands, kiss babies, kid. That's what you do.
Go,
and
man.
that's,
there you go.
Yeah, but ideas and figuring it out with them. And it was fun to figure out with them because, man, dude, there was nothing like it. There were nights when we did the remodel. There are 3 long tables that initially will be sat someday, hopefully. You're talking about 60, 70 tickets, each one in order. And you walk out and you look at it and you're like, oh my God. And they're like, boss, we got it. And they did figure out a way to make the rhythm work and how to handle it. And so I guess, man,
that's got to be daunting.
I guess. It was insane. But it's me. Dino knows me well enough, and as you know, I'm a control freak. But I couldn't control shit. I had to trust them to tell me what they needed me to do to allow them to make this work And so that's probably what I learned most. And that's a tough thing for a kid like me.
You accidentally jumped ahead of me because I know you like control, and you're in a situation where you have no control, and there is nothing worse for a control freak than to not have complete control of his situation.
Absolutely. It's the worst.
Yeah. So, but
it's the worst. It's like a weight. It's like a heavy. God damn it! I gotta. Tommy, get out of the way. Get out of the way. This is what we need you to do for us up front.
Yeah.
Guys in the back would say, "This is what we needed you to do for us here." In the middle, I tried to facilitate it, but the glory goes to the kids, and Bethel the same way. I mean, Bethel and Powell, everything. The way it was handled, we just went at it. We're going to run.
Just trust your people.
We'll
trust your people
when they come in. Yeah, and go at it the right. Every purveyor said you can run it. No, we're paying our bills. Larry was very adamant. We're paying our bills. And I said, absolutely. I completely and could not agree more. Let's go. Let's go our way. Make payrolls, pay bills. If the chips fall, then they fall. We don't know anybody's shit. And that was a big piece. And Larry's really Larry is he's a quiet little storm. He knows how to deal with numbers. But I had to trust him. I had to trust Nick. Trust all the kids. So it just, it's what it is. But man, to not be able to, you have no idea what's coming. None. Every night was one thing or another. And then when they gave us the okay, you can let people back in, now you've got the dilemma of the same amount of carry out, but people in the dining room. Well, you've got to handle them first.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting. New dilemma. How do we get them out first? And then the kids came up with a system that I hadn't thought of how we block. It's too long to explain, but they came up with it, not me. And I said, what is this piece of paper? Well, boss, that's how we're going to block it off. Block what off? Well, in order to get the dining room fed in a timely manner, we're going to block it. You're never too old to learn. I don't give a shit what you do. Somebody, somewhere, the smartest person can teach you something. Learn to listen and take a breath.
Do you think there'll ever be a time where...
a lot of time outside.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be ever a time where you would have two separate kitchens, one for carry out and the other one for in dining?
It's funny you asked that because I've wondered that question as far as the design for a place that, no. But, I do. I think the future of the design will be the area that you utilize. Mm-hmm. But if this happens again, pull this up, pull this out, and it, like a dual purpose kind of an area where you can maximize the space when it's normal, but eventually will then be used for an auxiliary. Okay, we're gonna have all these to go because absolutely. Because you think about most lines, I mean, it's as big as it is to just put plates up.
Sure.
You're putting 40 carryouts up, and you've got bags, and the table's not big enough. You have so I do. I think that's an interesting question. It's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. I kind of referenced it a little bit earlier. How would I build the next place? I don't know. I know that this will be part of my concern as to how we lay things out. So I think you're right. And somebody somewhere will come up with something really, really creative about it, and they're going to make $1 million because it's going to say, "Hey, this can be a table, or it can slow down, and then you can do this, or then if you all of a sudden we have another COVID, bring this up, and now you've got 10 more feet." Someone's going to come up with something.
Why can't you make that $1 million, Tommy? Why can't you make that $1 million?
Because
it could be you.
Of an asshole. I'm just waiting for DeWine to send me one of them. If I hear one more thing about one of his wife's pies, I'm going to take this glass and shove it in my mouth. Then I try to
Gallo's
stay
Kitchen
and
Bar and Pie.
I do want to say one thing real quick, though. I have been very aggressive on Facebook about the policies. And my mother and I talked the other night, and I do want to go on record. Whether I agree with him or not, and I've said a lot of stuff, I've gotten in a lot of trouble. A leader has to lead with what he thinks he needs to do. Whether I agree with him or not is irrelevant. I do respect the hell out of him. That what ultimately I think maybe might be his career, he risked it all to keep thought he needed to do to keep us safe. And whether I agree, whatever shit I posted on Facebook, I do want to go on record as saying I respect the hell out of someone that has the courage to do that. Whether I agree is irrelevant. How I think it could have gone, should have gone, would have gone, no. He did what he thought he needed to do for us. Whether we all like it or not, that's not relevant to me. And I just wanted to say that because I feel bad that
is it truly irrelevant?
I probably shouldn't have said.
Even though it may have affected you, can you truly say with a clear conscience, irrelevant, even though it might have affected you financially and emotionally? Hindsight, I think say is 2020. I get it. I get it.
I think the audio's going out. The audio's going out. I know it's not irrelevant in that sense, but I do respect that he made the decisions he made. All you got to do is go on my Facebook page. One thing I don't ever do, I never delete something, even when I get shit on for it. You can go back. I said a lot of mean shit, a lot of mean stuff, and I still feel that way. But I do want it to be known that I do respect the fact that he did what he did. Now, I don't get into all that as far as whether he should or shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things I think they could have done differently.
Like what?
But
Like what? Stop right there for a second. Tell me.
Where do we go? So the part I don't understand is if you can sit at a table. Okay, where my first problem was all this stuff's happening. And now we are underneath the John Glenn Airport flight line. Plane goes by. Interesting. So I can't have people in my restaurant, but planes are still flying. Seemed odd to me. How does that work versus, me distancing? The second thing that bothered me, and this was the big one, and I said this from the jump, when they took the curfew into effect at 10, what do you think happened? So what happened was all the service industry people, well, we like to go out and unwind and deal with all the chaos and bullshit the customers put us through, so we unwinded. When you closed us at 10, what do you think happened? They all went to someone's house. They all shared bottles and glasses and drinks versus staying open and allowing at least me to control the atmosphere. They were safer with me than they are on their own. The second one was, and this was the one that got me the most, why if somebody comes in my restaurant, wanders around with no mask, are you finding me? Find the person. Tell them that when your little commission comes in and they see the guy without the mask, fine him $1,000. That stops tomorrow.
Oh, I agree with
finding
that.
me. So now you put me in the position as a 46-year-old man to have to tell a grown-ass person who's a doctor or an adult or a lawyer, I've got to argue with them. You got to wear your mask. I'm wearing my mask. Here we go. Tell you what, don't wear your mask. Hey, guys, come here. We got 2 doctors. Boom. That shit ends tomorrow. And they didn't. They put all of that on us. Hell, I got enough problems. I got to go walk around and tell a grown person, an educated man, to wear a mask? It's absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 things I would have said, and I was very nervous about. That you've got to be very careful with when you shut us down at 10 o'clock. These guys are going to go somewhere. They're going to do something. They're sure as hell not going home. The very idea that, well, if we take a curfew and we put it at 10, everyone will go home. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Literally. It was absurd. I do miss one thing about COVID, though, because, man, at night when I would leave here, you can drive 90 miles an hour and just whoop. I was like,
no one was out.
And the episode where they had Kramer painted the lanes differently. It was no traffic ever anywhere. But you know what's weird is
does not condone drinking and driving.
No, I don't either. No. I didn't say drinking and driving. I said I just would go. I would run food. I had a lot of friends we were so afraid to leave that I would go just drop bags on houses and ring doorbells, and that's what I would do when I left. You're out there and you're like, man. I mean, there were times I went from here to Bethel, not a car. It was surreal, and I don't even know this back because even at rush hour now. And 33 was, they just redid Fishinger with the Well, hell, that's a waste of time. Never any cars on at rush hour anymore like they're used to. I mean, I don't know what happens now that all these businesses have learned to do this and Zoom and whatever. I don't know that commercial real estate comes back the way it does. That's going to be interesting to watch what happens.
Yeah,
everybody's at home now.
In an office environment, the restaurants and the bars, as you mentioned earlier, some people are still not ready. They don't feel comfortable enough yet to go into a restaurant or a bar. That will continue to change as we all continue to get vaccinated and feel a little safer that way. I think that mentality will start to change a little bit. But you said something earlier in the podcast that I found to be very revealing, and also kind of you planning ahead. No matter when we get through this, you are already anticipating not the next wave, but something that's not going to go away. I think you've kind of self-admitted that the way you do business now and the way you've had to adjust and change isn't temporary. These are changes. These are changes that are going to be implemented, and part of the future of this industry. So the current state of the industry is not what it was a year ago. So looking ahead, we see new places popping up, and what do we see in a lot of these new places that are being built and popping up? They're accommodating the outdoors as much as they possibly can, anticipating outside being a safer place to be, inside being more efforts to sanitize and keep things clean with different types of units and so forth and so on. We're going to get to a point, hopefully, where you can have a full capacity restaurant again.
Right.
But
if we get out of this mess, watch when it's going to go right back. Whether there's another, it's going to go back because winter scares people. And that first flu bug's going to hit sometime around November. We're going to be right back where we are, I think. And that's a great point you made. I don't think this is over.
But you're going to be ready.
You're goddamn right I'm going to be ready.
You're going to be ready. You're going to be ready with some sort of plan.
And I'm going to be ready with knowledge. Right?
At what point over the course of this year, when was the first moment that you had where you sat back for just a second and said to yourself, we're going to make it. We're going to be okay? I mean, despite the fact that there were desperate times and, back against the wall, was there a defining moment when you thought, you know what? We're going to make it.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. What, did something happen? Did somebody say something to you? Did you feel something?
We had a weird weekend. It wasn't good. It was unusually not good. My cousin was here. And he reads me pretty well. And I don't know why, but goddamn, we'd done so good for so many days. Weeks, actually. And I just didn't like the weekend. There was the pace wasn't right. And I don't know. And I came in on Sunday like I normally do. And he just grabbed me and pulled me outside, and he throws the numbers down in front of me. I don't really understand numbers. I can look at them and kind of understand it, but I don't know them well. And it was the first time I realized what we were doing and what we were achieving. I didn't want to know. There's a weird way my brain works. I like to be up against the wall. I want my back on the wall. I feel like I've got the army of 500 coming at me. That's when I'm at my best. So I don't ask. But it was the first time he kind of forced me to go, do you understand what you're doing? What this restaurant's doing? I kept saying, I don't. He showed me, and I even tried to wave him on. But there's little glory in that. It didn't do anything for me. It was nice to know we were okay. And then there was another moment where two different guests, I won't reveal names or amounts or anything, but they were very sizable donations for my staff. And even if I failed, having had that happen, only someone can only write a check in the size if they truly appreciate who we are and what the hell we do. And that, if I took nothing else, if it all went south, the fact that someone would do that, to walk in and say, here, and I'm talking sizable amounts, over 4 figures, that just said, here, help your people. COVID can kiss my ass, but it gave me that, and I don't know. I mean, I'd trade it back in a heartbeat, but it's a pretty cool thing. It's a pretty cool thing. So I guess the one moment was just, it wasn't like, yay, it was Larry just saying, look at what we're doing. We're okay. You're doing all right here. Like, you're doing well. And that was big. That was big. That was the moment.
Is there going to be a time you think where you'll take your back off the wall and breathe a little bit?
Or I will back off and breathe?
Is there going to be a time where you think you might take your back off the wall and breathe a little bit?
No. I'll find the next problem, and I'll slam myself against the wall again. That's just the way I'm geared. It's a weird thing, and it comes at the expense of a lot of great people, friends and relationships. It's unfortunate. It's just the way my brain's wired. I don't know why. It's how I get through. If I'm pressured, if I'm pushed, if I'm worried, and I'm grinding, then I don't have to think about whatever's happening here. Because as I remarked years ago, go ahead.
Do you think part of your success is the fear that you are just on the verge of failure?
100%. Yep. It's how I justify. It's how I justify everything. Absolutely.
Justifications and rationalizations are entirely two different things, my friend. Rationalizations,
the way my brain works,
sometimes can be elaborate excuses for what's not getting done. Justifications, on the other hand, are entirely different, as far as I'm concerned.
Understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
I know it's not ideal. I would not teach someone to do what I do. I'm lying.
You don't think you should open up? There'll be no Tommy Gallo School of Business.
God help anyone that I tell. I mean, that's just not a good idea. It's just, there was a friend of mine who was a psychologist that I wanted to honor, and sometimes in the restaurant I honor. His name was Dr. Dantosi, and I referred. I would bring people in and make a speech or whatever, and the way I explained to my customers, as we basically gave a standing ovation for me still being here. One of many people, by the way, who were responsible for that. But I said, it's like a zoo, but all the cages are open. And he helped me put the animals back in the cage. How I do that myself, find the tiger. That's the one that can kill you. The lion can kill you. Go in. And with stress and with being pushed. But I also will say, because it sounds too goddamn depressing, I'm looking forward to coming out of this. Because I'll tell you right now, I was at the tap room for the Buckeye basketball game against Michigan. You could feel it, man. You could feel it. Like I grew up a WWE fan. And there was this thing when Hulk Hogan would start to hit. And he starts, and then boom, and now it's boom time. They're there. They're right there. They are so primed. They are so ready to unleash that I think March Madness will be the moment that we go, you know what? We're back now. Like, we're coming. Now, what happens after that, I don't know. But the people are tired, and they just want to come out. And I can't say who because they will get in trouble. But there was a bar a short while ago that I went to in the second half of the championship game because I knew we were done. My brother gets very angry when we lose, so I'm like, I'm just going to go because it's whatever. So I leave. A friend calls and says, hey, I'm at such and such. They're going to stay open. The one thing about this industry people don't realize, I didn't even realize, I knew I missed it. I knew I missed being out. But there was a point when I'm sitting in this place, and I'm just looking around, and a friend of mine sitting across the street, and I got very teary-eyed. And he said, "Are you all right?" I said, "No. I didn't realize how much I needed this. It's not even the drinking. It's the chaos. It's the noise. It's that just boom, boom, person here, person there. Oh, Tommy got. I need that, and people need that. Not to say you have to go out and get bombed or shit-faced or whatever, but you just people like me need to be in that atmosphere, that chaos, that craziness. You know, John Denver's cool to listen to. Sometimes I need to tell him. You did? I mean, that's where I'm at. I need, and I didn't realize. And first thing I did when I came back, and my manager was still here, and I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I always knew I loved it. I didn't know how much I needed it. People need it. They're ready. They're fun. They're gonna. Man, it's gonna be fun when it happens because they're going out.
Clarity through
chaos. About the money
right?
anymore. I can't. Which one of you? That's a great line.
Clarity through chaos.
Well done, man. I couldn't say it better. I
can't tell you said it. Maybe I said it. I don't know.
I don't know where it originated, but that's exactly it.
Let me.
So I'm looking forward to it, man.
As we get closer to wrapping up here, let me just one of the things that you stressed throughout this whole thing was people. So I just want to go back some of the comments tonight. So glad for your patience and resilience. Congrats, Tommy. We now drive an hour and change just to go to Gallo's. Worth it. Jamie Sanfilippo from Sanfilippo Produce. Tommy is not a customer at the kitchen, and I still go there. That tells you all you need to know about the food. He loves it. There was one there about the fax machine.
Yeah.
That's where the magic happens. That came from Adam. So many people saying so many different things. Great atmosphere, amazing food, dedicated owners who truly care about people. Thank you for all you do. So proud of you.
That's Chris Neff. She's one of the women that saved my life. She was one of my allies in Wellington. Yes, nice. People, I went to Wellington. I know everyone's going to shit themselves when they hear that. I went to Wellington. I don't know if I graduated, but they let me leave with a degree.
There you go.
Tommy, you've been killing it this whole time. I know it's rough. You know that I know you are doing fantastic. That came from Aaron. Still a lot of sleepless nights, says Jamie Sanfilippo. You can concur with that. It's just everybody is just kind of like the people. The people are there. Chip said earlier, if you cook it, they will come. I think the fact that you've made it this far and this well is an indication that no matter what the future holds as far as a pandemic or COVID or reoccurrence or a next wave or whatever the case might be, I think however it zigs, you're going to zag. I will personally say that you can't spell gallows or you can't spell balls without gallows. So, there, I will say that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that the family has incorporated in a big way. So,
may I say one thing real quick? Do you mind?
What's that?
I said, may I say one thing real quick?
You can say as many things as you want. Take all the time you need.
I know she's probably watching. She calls me son number 2. So, Mrs. Pinson, if you're watching or if you see it later, we're not done yet. Keep fighting, baby. I need you. And to those fighting cancer, got an ally over here. Keep going. I love you, Mrs. P. That's all, Dino.
Nice.
This has been fun. You guys are fun. You guys. I will tell you one thing though. I miss being in that living room. See, you showed me more bottles of things I've ever seen in my life. I'm looking around and I loved your house. Your house is so cool. It was like a museum. It was different, and I miss being around you guys. This is fun, but I sure wish we were together.
Yeah, that's the only thing I miss. You talk about connections. I miss the fact that you're not directly across from me as we're speaking, so I can actually see you. And I hope people don't misinterpret this, but feel you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And all you guys out there watching this, if you're in the industry, man, keep going. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Keep fighting. Fight to get through this mess. We're almost there. I know it's coming, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna. Just keep going, and don't think people don't know what you're going through, and respect what you're going through. And I posted on Facebook, it was one of the nights I was here working to cook, and it was a post about just us, the grunts, the grinders, the idiots, the people stupid enough to do this for a living. And this is our time now. If you've made it through and you got that much further, man, push it, go, finish the job and get over this hill. And let's go back and claim our industry back. Get it to where we want. Please don't give up. Don't give up. Please don't give up. We're almost there. Please. We're almost there.
I can't think of a better way to close than on that note. Our guest has been Tommy Gallo from Gallo's Kitchen and Bar, surviving and moving forward in the best way possible. Stay right there, Tommy, for 1 second. Hansberry's got a couple of closing things we have to do before we wrap up, and I say it goodbye officially, so stay right there, Tommy.
So check out the last time Tommy was on almost a year ago. You can find that archive at whiskeybusinesspod.com, and you can hear the whole journey where we started and where we are today. It's kind of a cool thing.
That's called Don't Call Me Chef, because he hates to be called Chef.
Yeah. So you can find that at whiskeybusinesspod.com or on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, your apps, iTunes, SoundCloud, Player FM, iHeart, Audible, Spotify, and Disney Plus. Also, thank you if you've been watching to Facebook and YouTube, Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. You guys have been. This is the most comments and questions that we've ever had. So this has been a lot of fun. It's great. So go ahead and share this episode with your friends. Post it. Like us if you haven't already, and just spread the word. Like a good restaurant, we just try to put cool stuff out there, and word of mouth, gets us the rest of the way. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
That was the original right there. I took his glasses. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love you guys, man. I can't thank you enough. Thanks for the wine.
You talked earlier about how people, the curfew happened at 10 o'clock. You don't think people were going to various places and so forth and so on. You're right. I have a bubble. Whitney and Hansberry are in the bubble. Tommy Gallo, open invitation to join the bubble anytime you want. Mi casa, su casa. All right? Thanks, and whatever is here is here. And don't forget Gallo's website. You give the information for that, Tommy. How people can, if they have not experienced Gallo's Kitchen, whether it be carry out or actually going to the restaurant, where you're at, how they can do it, et cetera, your Facebook, everything that they need to know. Shoot it out there one more time.
GallosFoodGroup.com is the best place to go because you can see all the places. The number here is 614-754-8176, but everything's posted online. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. My girl, Stephanie Klonk, she kills it. To all those of you that got us through this mess. I asked Dino the other day if I could do this because this is the message, man. God, thank you. Thanks for keeping my family afloat. Thanks for helping. Thanks for the gratuity. Thanks for the support. This restaurant is nothing without the people coming here. And I cannot thank you enough for seeing to it that we survived here in Bethel, Powell, Glenville. I got nothing. Just thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for caring.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To Tommy and Gallo family. There you go.
For being, Chindan, my friend.
There you go.
Chindan, 100 years and then some. All right.
Thank you, Dino, for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Just all you guys.
Brother, no, thank you.
What a nice gift.
The Bell Mead was the guest bottle. Right now, at this point, insignificant because the ultimate guest has been Tommy Gallo. Check them out at Gallo's Kitchen and all the Gallo establishments here in town. You won't go wrong when you enter any Gallo door. I'll say it again. You can't spell balls without Gallo.
You asked me
that should be the name of this
earlier.
episode.
What's
You
that?
asked me when my moment was.
Yeah?
You asked me when my relax moment was. You just gave it to me. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.
Nice.
I hope to see you sooner than later, okay?
Indeed,
All right, guys. I want to thank Greg Hansberry and John Whitney, as always, for making this little remote venue possible on a weekly basis. I, too, look forward to full capacity in the house again when we're sitting across from one another and actually clicking glasses and doing it the way we remember doing it. Tommy said it best. We're that close. We're that close. So let's hang on just a little bit longer. And until the next bottle, see ya.